Good morning, dear students, to your English class. Today we will be learning chapter 3.3, The Last Leaf by O. Henry. The Last Leaf by O. Henry. Today we have a very beautiful lesson. It's a lovely values-based lesson of two friends who are Sue and Johnsy. The name of these two characters are Sue and Johnsy. Johnsy is on the bed. She is sick. Okay, so in this story you will learn about being positive, sacrifice, love, friendship and trust. It's a very beautiful lesson about these two friends. We will also do two video activities on helping the poor and showing kindness. Okay, let's go in and listen to it. We will firstly do an activity about the homeless man. You will see a poor man begging and who finds a lady's wedding ring. He will find a lady's wedding ring in his begging cup when he is begging. How did he find? Who put it there? Let's find out. We will see a video now, and in the end you will need to answer a few questions. Here are the three questions over here. How did Sarah help? Sarah is the girl who puts the ring in his cup. How did Sarah help the poor man on the street and why? Do you think Billy should have sacrificed his need or sell the diamond ring? Why? And how did Sarah repay his kindness? Let's find out who is Sarah and Billy.
There was a homeless man named Billy who barely got by. He would hold out a cup and beg people for money, hoping to get enough so he didn't have to sleep on the street at night.
Can you spare some change?
Little did he know, he was about to meet a lady who would change the rest of his life.
This is for you. I hope this helps.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, man. Now I don't have to sleep on the street tonight. Well, why'd you give me so much?
I've always believed what goes around comes around.
Wait. I don't even know your name.
It's Sarah. Sarah Darling. I work across the street. I'm sure I'll see you around.
Thank you, Sarah, darling. Ready?
Billy realizes that when Sarah handed him the $20 bill, she accidentally dropped her wedding ring inside of his cup. He runs after Sarah to try to find her to give her her ring back. He looks all around for her, but he can't find her anywhere. Just as he gives up looking for her, he happens to come across a pawn shop. And decides he may as well go inside.
Hi, can I help you? Want to see how much this ring is worth? Here. Wow, this is nice. I can give you $4,000 for it. $4,000? That's so much money. I wouldn't have to sleep on the street for months. Just a second. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and 4,000.
What goes around, comes around.
What's wrong? Aren't you gonna take it? Actually, changed my mind. I'm really sorry.
Billy decides not to take the money and continues to look for Sarah instead. As he's walking around, he remembers something she told him.
I work across the street. I'm sure I'll see you around.
So he goes inside nearby offices, asking for a Sarah Darling, but no one seemed to know who she was. He keeps trying, and eventually he finds her.
Is there a Sarah Darling that works here?
Yeah. Sarah?
Oh, hi. How can I help you?
Hello. I believe this belongs to you. You dropped it in my cup.
Oh my god. You found my ring. I've been looking everywhere for this. I don't understand. I'm sure you could have got a lot of money for this. Why did you give it back?
Well, without me, it's just the least I can do. Besides, a wise woman once told me, what goes around, comes around.
Thank you so much. You have no idea how much this means to me. I'll never forget this.
You're welcome.
Wow. You know, you should start a GoFundMe for him. I'm sure people would love this story and want to help him.
That's a great idea.
Sarah decides to start a GoFundMe page for Billy, telling the story of how he gave her the ring back. And to her surprise, the story ends up going viral. People all over the world started donating. Within a few days, Sarah raises over $190,000 in donations. And then a few days later, Sarah goes to find Billy.
Hey, Billy.
Hello, Sarah.
I have a surprise for you. 190,726 surprises to be exact.
What? This is all for me? But I don't understand. What's going on?
I set up a donation page and I told everybody about what you did. People around the world donated. So now you don't have to worry about sleeping out on the streets anymore. You can buy your own home.
I can't believe this is happening to me. God bless you.
God bless you too.
So children, you have seen this lovely, beautiful video about this homeless man and how he helped that lady and how the lady helped him. So I want you to tell me, how did Sarah help the poor man on the street and why? Secondly, do you think Billy should have sacrificed his need or sell the diamond ring? Why? Thirdly, how did Sarah repay his kindness? Tell me. Now let's go to the next part. We'll learn about this author. The author of this lesson is O. Henry. His name is actually William Sidney Potter, also known as O. Henry. Let us know about him, about this great story writer.
By O. Henry. William Sidney Potter, better known by his pen name O. Henry, was an American short story writer. The Last Leaf is a short story by O. Henry, published in 1907 in his collection The Teen Lamb and Other Stories. The story is set in Greenwich Village during a pneumonia epidemic. It tells the story of an old artist who saves the life of a young neighboring artist dying of pneumonia by giving her the will to live. The main theme of the story.
Now we come to the explanation of this poem, of the story. I want to listen to the story and read it along too. There are lots of meanings given also in the video explanation. Pay attention, children.
Sub-themes are optimism, sacrifice, love and friendship, and trust. Main events in the story. Johnsy and Sue are artists who move into Greenwich Village. As winter approaches, Johnsy falls ill with pneumonia. She believes that when the last leaf falls from the vine outside her window, she will die. An artist named Behrman braves a storm one night to paint a leaf on the wall, a leaf that will never fall. Cold and wet from painting in the rain, he catches pneumonia and dies. The picture gives Johnsy the hope to survive her illness, and the painting becomes Behrman's masterpiece. In the poorer parts of New York, there was a colony where many struggling artists lived. Among them were Sue and Johnsy. They had come to New York from different parts of the United States. When they met, they found that they shared the same interests and they became friends. They shared a flat and set up a joint studio, trying to earn a living through art. Johnsy was small, thin, and not very strong. After spending a few months in New York, she became ill with pneumonia. In those days, it was not easy to cure pneumonia patients. Though Sue looked after her well, Johnsy showed no signs of improvement. One day, the doctor told Sue that Johnsy had one chance in 10, and that chance is for her to want to live. He said, "Your little lady has made up her mind that she's not going to get well." He told Sue that medicines alone did not help if the patient did not wish to live. That day, Johnsy just lay in bed without making any sound or movement. First, Sue thought that she had fallen asleep, but then she noticed that Johnsy was looking out of the window and was counting something again and again in a very low voice, almost a whisper. Sue too looked out of the window, but there was nothing to see. Only an old ivy vine, gnarled and decayed at the roots, climbed halfway up the brick wall. The cold breath of autumn had taken away most of the leaves. Only the skeleton branches were left, clinging to the bricks. Meanings: gnarled, twisted. Ivy vine, a strong creeper with green leaves and yellow berries. Questions: what dreadful illness did Johnsy suffer from? Johnsy suffered from pneumonia, which is an acute or chronic inflammation of the lungs caused by virus. What did the doctor tell Sue about Johnsy? The doctor told Sue that Johnsy had one chance in 10 to survive. He told her that Johnsy had made up her mind that she was not going to get well. He told Sue that medicines alone would not help if the patient did not wish to live. Describe the ivy vine outside the window. It was an old ivy vine that was twisted and decayed at the roots. It had climbed halfway up the brick wall. It had lost most of its leaf due to the cold autumn. Only a few bare branches were left clinging to the bricks. "What is it, dear?" asked Sue. "6," said Johnsy. "They are falling faster now. 3 days ago, they were almost 100. It made my head ache to count them. But now it's easy. There goes another one. There are only 5 left now." "5 what, dear?" "Leaves on the ivy vine. When the last one falls, I must go too. I've known that for the 3 days. Didn't the doctor tell you?" "Oh, I've never heard of such nonsense," said Sue. "What have old ivy leaves to do with your getting well? And used to love that wine so." "Don't be silly. The doctor said that you had an excellent chance of getting well. Take some broth now and let me get back to my work." But Johnsy just kept looking out of the window. "There goes another. No, I don't want any broth. That leaves just 4. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark. Then I'll go too." "Johnsy," said Sue, "will you promise me to keep your eyes closed and not look out of the window until I'm done working? I must hand these drawings in tomorrow. I need the light. Otherwise, I would have closed the window. I don't want you to keep looking at those silly ivy leaves." "Tell me as soon as you have finished," said Johnsy, closing her eyes. "Because I want to see the last one fall." "Try to sleep," said Sue. "I must call Berman up to be my model for the old man that I am drawing. I'll not be gone a minute." Meanings in this unit: broth, a hot soup. Question: what false belief did Johnsy have about the ivy vine? Johnsy saw that the ivy leaves were falling off one by one. So she believed that when the last leaf would fall, she would also die. Old Berman was a painter who lived on the ground floor, but he was a failure in art. For 40 years, he had wielded the brush but had not made any money. Wielded the brush, painted skillfully. He had been always about to paint a masterpiece but had never yet begun it. For several years, he had only made a few paintings. He earned a little by serving as a model to the young artists in the colony who could not afford other models. He always talked of his coming masterpiece. Sue told Berman about Johnsy's fancy. Old Berman was shocked that anyone could have such idiotic imaginings. Idiotic imaginings? Silly thoughts and imagination. "What?" he cried. "Are there people in the world foolish enough to die because of leaves dropping off from a vine? I have not heard of such a thing. Why did you allow this thought to enter her brain?" "She is very ill and weak," said Sue. "The fever has made her mind full of fancies. This place is not good for Miss Johnsy. Some day I'll paint a masterpiece and we shall all go away." "Yes," said Berman, very excited with the idea. Johnsy was sleeping when the two went upstairs. Sue showed Berman the ivy vine that Johnsy had seen through the window. They looked at each other for a moment without speaking, and then began their work. Outside, a cold rain was falling continuously, mingled with snow. Sue closed the window. Meanings: wielded the brush, painted with a flourish or skillfully. Masterpiece, an outstanding work of art. fancy, imagination. Question. Who was Berman and why did Sue call him to their flat? Berman was a struggling painter who lived on the ground floor of the building where Sue and Johnsy lived. He served as a model for the young artists in the colony. Sue called him to their flat to act as a model for the old man that she was drawing. Next morning, when Sue woke up, she found that Johnsy was staring at the closed window again with dull, wide open eyes. "Open the window! I want to see!" she ordered. Sue obeyed. But lo, even after the rain and the fierce wind that blew throughout the night, there yet stood against the brick wall one ivy leaf. It was the last on the vine, still dark green near its stem, but its edges tinted with yellow. It hung bravely from a branch some 20 feet above the ground. "It is the last one," said Johnsy. "I thought it would surely fall during the night. I heard the wind. It will fall today, and I shall die at the same time." Johnsy was preparing herself for the last journey that one makes alone. Here it is referring to her death. It's a euphemism where death is spoken of in a mild tone. The feeling was very strong within her. The ties of Sue's friendship and other things on earth became loose one by one. The day wore away, but even through the twilight they could see the lone ivy leaf clinging to its stem against the wall. At night, again the wind raged and the rain poured. Next day, when it was light enough, Johnsy asked Sue to open the window. The ivy leaf was still there. Things. Tinted, slightly colored. Mingled, mixed. Twilight, soon after sunset, but before it gets dark. What happened that night and what did the two friends see when the window was open? That night it rained and snowed, and a fierce wind blew. When the window was open, the two friends saw one ivy leaf still clinging to the vine. It was dark green near the stem, but its edges were tinted with yellow. It hung from a branch some 20 feet above the ground. Second question. What did Berman promise to do someday? Berman promised to paint a masterpiece so that with the money they could all go away from there. What did Johnsy declare when she saw the last ivy leaf? When Johnsy saw the last ivy leaf, she declared that it would fall that day and she would die at the same time. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at it. Then she called Sue. "Sue dear," she said, "I've been a bad girl. Something has made a last leaf stay there to show me how wicked I was. It is a sin to want to die." After she was ready to take the broth and milk that Sue brought her, she wanted to sit up in bed. "Someday I hope to paint the Bay of Naples." Mr. Berman downstairs was now ill with pneumonia. The sweeper had found him lying helpless in his room in very wet clothes and shoes. He also found some scattered brushes and a palette with green and yellow colors mixed on it. 2 days later, Mr. Berman died in a hospital. The last ivy leaf was still there on the wall. It never fluttered or moved when the wind blew. It was Berman's masterpiece. He had painted it there the night when the last leaf had fallen. Meaning, fluttered, irregular shaking movement, or moving with a high, irregular trembling motion. What change came over Johnsy the next day? Why? Johnsy now felt that she had been wicked earlier and it was a sin to want to die. She wanted to sit up in bed and was ready to have broth and milk. She looked forward to the future and hoped to paint the Bay of Naples someday. It was the sight of the last leaf staying on the vine that was the reason for her change. Second question: what happened to Mr. Berman? Answer: Mr. Berman had gone out in the rain and snow to paint the last leaf on the wall. He had got thoroughly wet and became ill with pneumonia. He died in the hospital 2 days later. Question 3. Who had saved Johnsey's life and how? Mr. Berman had saved Johnsey's life by painting an ivy leaf on the wall where Johnsey lived, thereby instilling the hope in her. He had painted it when the last leaf had fallen, and it had given a new lease of life to Johnsey. Significance of the title, The Last Leaf. In this story, Johnsey associates the falling of the leaves with her death. She believes that when the last leaf falls, she too would die. Therefore, the title is appropriate. Now let us see the summary of the story. Johnsey and Sue were artists who shared the same interests and tastes in art. They set up a joint studio. As winter approached and the weather got colder, Johnsey became ill with pneumonia. She got so sick that she believed that when the last leaf fell from the vine outside her window, she would die. An old artist named Berman, who lived in the same building as the girls, braved a storm one night to paint a leaf on the wall, a leaf that would never fall. Cold and wet from painting in the icy rain, he caught pneumonia and died. This gave Johnsey the hope to survive her illness, and it also created the masterpiece Berman had always dreamed of painting. Now, students, let us see the values that we learn from this lesson. Sacrifice. Sacrifice is the art of giving up something or not having something or doing something yourself to help somebody else. We saw how Berman gave his life to help Johnsey in the last leaf. He made the greatest sacrifice anybody could make. But sacrifices are not always as great as Mr. Berman's. We make small sacrifices almost every day. How about you? What is the greatest sacrifice you have ever made for your family or friends? Did Mr. Berman know he would die after finishing the last leaf? Students, you will answer these questions in your notebook.
I hope you have seen and understood the story well, students. Yes? Good. Lastly, we will do an activity on acts of kindness. Okay, in this you will watch a simple man. Here you can see the man is a very simple man who works really hard and does kind words. He does lots of kind works to people all around him, even to the animals. You watch it. In this activity, you must think well and feel and then answer. There are two questions over here. What acts of kindness did the man do? How will you help people in this lockdown situation? Okay, keep this in mind while you are watching this video.
เขาจะได้อะไร ถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวัน
Good.
เขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลย ไม่ได้รวยขึ้น ไม่ได้ออกทีวี ไม่มีใครรู้จัก ไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้น เพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้ คือได้แค่ความรู้สึก ได้เห็นความสุข ได้เข้าใจ ได้ความรัก ได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิม ในชีวิตคุณ อะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
ทางประกันชีวิตเชื่อในความดี
So students, you have seen this wonderful video about this man who gave everything whatever he had to help the poor people and to help and show his kindness. He did not receive anything in return, but he shared love, kind words, his helpful nature. You have to tell me what acts of kindness did the man do, and how will you help the people in this lockdown situation. Okay, thank you.